Auburn's baseball season is underway, and while we're eager to see what they'll look like performance-wise on the field, we've got a little bit of a preview of what they will actually look like out there on the diamond with some brand new uniforms. You know that special guest that's going to be joining me here to talk about some more Auburn aesthetics. It has arrived, folks. The spring sports, the diamond sports, and specifically for what we're talking about today, Auburn baseball. And yes, there's plenty to be broken down about what's actually going to take place out there on the diamond at Plainsman Park and every place in between that will be going through that season. But of course, when we bring a certain individual on to this channel, you know what type of topics we're going to be hitting. Joining me again, Clint Richardson, to talk about some Auburn aesthetics, some Auburn uniform stuff, some exciting things coming out of Auburn baseball. So Clint, welcome back to the show.
What's up?
I'm excited to have you back, man. I was excited to see you covering out there for everybody at Plainsman Park. The new additions to the uniform aesthetics of Auburn baseball.
Yeah, it's been a busy week. Baseball unveiled 3 new uniforms, softball unveiled 2, gymnastics unveiled 1 new Leo, and I think there's something else. But yeah,
there's been always something
week.
With you.
It's been a busy week over here.
And, look, it's just hard enough to keep up with, what's changing just with the team and stuff and trying to get your predictions ready. I know you don't make predictions, Clint, but some of us do.
What's a prediction?
I actually, just really quick aside, I went ahead and made my prediction because I'm going to do a video about that for the season. And it's probably going to be completely wrong and I'm going to jinx the team. But yes, I do love predictions. Everything's my fault. It doesn't matter. You know this already. True. You've been here long enough. All right, enough about it being my fault, though. I want you to jump right into and talk about probably the big exciting thing that we saw from Auburn's baseball's new uniforms, things they're going to be using this season, and some other things that you probably shared, and maybe some things that we haven't necessarily seen, too. So jump right in. Tell us what we saw, Clint.
Yeah, so the big news this year with the Auburn uniforms is a brand new all navy blue set, and it's going to be controversial. Some people are going to really love it, some people are going to hate it, and if my mentions are anything to go by, they already do. So the new set includes a new blue top, a new gray top, and a new cream uniform at the very least.
Yeah,
there may be some new items that they haven't shown us yet, but we may see some pieces from last year, maybe just like this orange one from last season, maybe the white one. I do know the pinstripes are sticking around, but you have the all navy. So, the last couple of years in baseball, non-traditional colored pants have kind of been a thing. If you go and look at the MLB and Nike's City Connect uniforms, you're seeing the Boston Red Sox wearing light blue and yellow for the Boston Marathon. These uniforms in particular are modeled after the Los Angeles Dodgers City Connect that, again, included a blue hat, a blue shirt, a blue pants, blue belt, blue socks, everything blue. And, straight from the horse's mouth, that's what Auburn baseball wanted to model these after. And it's a totally different look. It's very unique. Just wearing navy pants is something that Auburn hasn't done since 1936. So
you got to go back a bit.
You got to go back to before World War II, before Auburn wore blue pants. And I mean, if we wanted to get really technical, they did wear powder blue pants in the 70s and early 80s, but that's a little different.
Right.
Ever since then, it has been white, gray, cream, and pinstriped. So this is, a historic uniform for this team. So it's going to be a really unique look. The jerseys are much simpler than, even this. So you'll see a solid colored script on the chest. You won't see an outline on at least the 3 uniforms that we saw last week. You will see a contrasting colored number below, and both of these feel like they're much larger than they were previously.
Right.
The grays are actually a really sharp look, I think. The shaded gray looks a little different than it was last year. It'd be great to put these side by side and just see which one truly is darker and lighter. And then I think what's really most exciting for a lot of fans is the cream throwback look that we haven't seen in almost 5 years is finally back. It's
Right.
going to be a little different. Again, solid colored um, word mark, solid colored number, no trim, no navy trim around the collar or the sleeves, but it's back finally.
So, any particular reason why the change this year? Because, like, think about it, Auburn baseball is kind of almost in, I don't want to call it a transition year, but there's a lot coming, between, the Frank Thomas statue, the additions to the stadium, and, everything in between of that. So, is there a reason why this season we've decided to just go all out with this stuff?
Yeah, and it's not so much because of what has happened in the past or what might be coming this year. This is kind of the schedule. So the current or the this uniform set that was worn last year was debuted in 2018. So it was worn for 4 seasons, which if you go back and look at the history, that's pretty much the lifespan of the uniform.
Okay.
You'll see football change templates every 3 to 4 years. um, Basketball is kind of really the outlier right now. The men's basketball team is in their 5th year of wearing the current uniform set, which, I mean, let's be honest, the pandemic really hit supply chains hard, and it hit athletic supply chains about as hard as anybody else. And so a lot of teams have been struggling to find new uniforms. They're struggling to get new gear in, even just the simple stuff. So it's not a surprise that basketball moved probably to next year. But it is kind of a surprise that baseball was able to get theirs in for this year. And
Yeah.
I know for a fact that they weren't able to get one in because of some other issues. But yeah, it's really just, it's the lifespan of the uniform. It was time to change. And there's a slightly new Under Armour template for baseball right now. So that's what the new uniforms are going to be set on. And it was just, honestly, it was just time.
Yeah, yeah, and just more of a traditional way these things type of flow.
Yeah.
But obviously, some of the things that Clint's been talking about here, you can check out at auburnuniforms.com. We're going to have the article linked in the description for this video, so please do go check that out. He details all of the stuff that we're talking about here. I find it interesting, though, that we haven't wore navy pants in half a century, essentially. Over more than that. I can't do math. You know this.
It's been
Like,
80-something years. So, yeah.
almost a century. That's crazy to me to think that
It
the
is.
amount of things that have been worn by Auburn baseball in that time, it's never happened. That's pretty unique.
And when you look at baseball, baseball is a very traditional sport. But when it comes to the uniforms, you will see kind of fashion trends come and go. The solid colored pants were really big in the 70s. The Phillies used to wear all maroon, and it wasn't really a great look. Of course, you see the powder blue in the 70s and 80s. Every team had a powder blue road uniform, even Auburn baseball. So those kind of went away in the 90s and early 2000s. You saw vests come in. Hal Baird loved a good vest here at Auburn. And then again, those just kind of went away. Players didn't like wearing them, or the fashions changed or whatever. But now you're kind of seeing some more different looks show up. You're seeing, especially with the City Connect uniforms, the White Sox have an all black uniform with white pinstripes. The Cubs are back in like an all royal blue uniform. The Colorado Rockies, who are a purple and black team, wore green and white this year or last year for, basically come visit Colorado. And again, like we said earlier, the Red Sox wore a Boston Marathon style uniform. So you're seeing a lot of teams kind of get away from their typical branding and go a little different. And I don't think you'll see that with Auburn, but it's at least opened the door for them to do something a little different, something that's a little unique, and bring something back that's, again, historic to this program.
Well, lastly, I got to ask you this. I'm always going to get predictions out of you in some way or another. Any thoughts about anything we haven't seen yet for Auburn baseball this season that might be coming now that we know at least a little bit about what we are going to see?
Yeah, so I think it's going to be kind of interesting to see if you see some of these old style uniforms. We don't know what a new orange uniform looks like. We haven't seen a new white uniform. Does that mean that they just didn't show them? Does that mean that they're just not in? Or did they just not come in with this order and they'll be here next year? So we don't really know what that holds. So, you might see some mixed up sets, which honestly I don't love, but I understand why it has to happen.
Right.
And then like you said earlier, there's a lot going on this year, coming off the College World Series berth, honoring Frank Thomas with a statue. I wonder if there might be something that weekend, because that is A-Day weekend, right?
That is A-Day weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a big weekend honoring the only SEC baseball player in the Pro Baseball Hall of Fame. And that's kind of the perfect time to do something different.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking, and I thought you were going to go that way. That was the easy, like softball or baseball, I guess I threw up there to you, and you knocked it out of the park. So there you have it, folks. A little bit of a preview of what you can see this season, maybe what's coming. Again, in the description link, you want to check out that link to this article, so you can check out all the information that Clint continues to put out there, and as well as any other information over at auburnuniforms.com. Clint, where else should they follow to get all the Auburn aesthetic stuff from you?
Always follow me on Twitter at ClintAU24, and then you can follow the Auburn Uniform Database on Facebook and Instagram at Auburn Uniforms.
And of course, here you can follow us anywhere on social media, E2C Network, or me personally on Twitter at Kyle Loomis24. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Until we talk to you again, War Eagle.
War Eagle.